Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I am Maurice Merriweather, the host of Straight Talk in Room 503 and the author of Enough is Enough. Public education has spiraled out of control. Ladies and gentlemen, I just happened to notice the time. It is time for the class of 503. Just trying to get in a little R&R today. It's so pretty. But it's time to go to class. The people need to know the truth. Call a friend, tell a friend, text a friend that Professor Merriweather is on his way to class. So join me as we continue the struggle and continue the journey. I'll see you shortly in class. I'm going to call the roll. I'm going to know if you're there. Stay with me now. Let's go to class. Ladies and gentlemen, before getting underway, I want to take this opportunity to wish those of you a very happy Memorial holiday. Hope that you'll have a good time with your family and friends. But as you're counting your blessing, think about those who are less fortunate than you as you continue to eat and be festive and talking about things that have occurred over the course of the year. I hope that during your Memorial Day discussion that you'll talk about the journey that Professor Merriweather is on, the journey to improve public education. I hope that all of your holiday celebration is not about something funny and having fun and shaking hands and eating and what have you, that you'll spend some serious moments talking about it's time for us to get busy. Professor Merriweather come to us each week with the messy truth. It's time for us to get busy and make sure that every boy and every girl is entitled to a public education, a quality of education, and that they should receive it. It's time to quit letting certain leaders hurt our boys and our girls, and we wonder why they're not doing well and why our prisons are filling up. Why when we turn on the news, police officers are being acquitted for killing our boys on the street without weapons. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to have some serious conversation. This will be an opportunity for us over the holiday to talk about this, and not only talk about it, have a plan of action of what we're going to do. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to share some things with you before we begin. One of the things we want to talk about is our President Donald Trump. If his budget does pass, ladies and gentlemen, there will be hundreds of tax cuts for the wealthy. Big Medicaid cuts for the poor. Millions of children with disability will be hurt, along with senior citizens in nursing home. The working family will lose health care insurance and nursing home care. This is our good Republican buddies that we have teamed up with, that we see on the street, and we're shaking hands with them. Our faith-based community have allowed into our churches during our religious services to speak when they was running for an office. And now they running away from us. That we see them on the street. Some of our elected officials have teamed up with them, and it's hurting our children. Ladies and gentlemen, when are we going to do better than that? I want to share with the class a letter to the editor from Buddy Pierce from Bolivar, Tennessee, 28 miles from my hometown. It began by saying, Trump comprehensive tax plan is designed to starve the federal government of needed revenue to support a safety net for those that need health care, public education, rural hospital, food, housing, mental health treatment, clean food, water, and air. His plan is modeled after the Kansas plan. Remember how that turned out. Governor Sam Brownback failed to deliver the expected boost in growth and resulted in a crummy budget battle and harsh spending cuts. What their citizen did was to put their money into private bank account and did not spend. If this happened, and probably it will, we can expect to see a rise in debt and inflation. Trump wants to reduce corporate and small business taxes from 35% to 15%. Let's say that Trump business bring in $500 million a year. He would pay 25% tax after deduction, which is $125 million. Now, with his tax plan, he would pay $75 million, so that he would end up with a $50 million reduction. I think he should say he will not apply the cuts to his business, but that he won't. Yet, he wants to raise taxes on people with low income, 10% to 12%. Does that make sense? The worst economic idea from 1980 and back with revenge, and an economic crash will surely occur. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very serious thing. These are some of our, not mine, some of our so-called Republican friends who is supporting a man like Donald Trump, and we're supporting them. What does that say about us? Over the course of this week, I was told by some people, you know, Professor Merriweather, I hear them, they be talking about you. They be talking about what your fight for public education, how you trying to make sure that all children get a quality. They talk about you all the time. And I said to them, well, you know, you can't talk about a person unless you're thinking about them. So I'm glad to hear you tell me that they're talking about me, because that means that not only are they talking about me, they're thinking about me. I'm glad to be on their thought pattern. Maybe they'll see while I'm right, and I'm going to continue to fight for public education. So when you hear them talking again, tell them that Professor Merriweather said, talk on. Ladies and gentlemen, may I take this opportunity to speak, hopefully, to your conscience. I know that I come to you every week, and my inbox does not fill up with words of encouragement. Our phone ring does not, I hear, Brother Merriweather, we're with you. What can we do? These are people that have known me down through the years, black and white, rich and poor. I see them on the street. How you doing, Professor Merriweather? How are you? But there's no words of encouragement. Know that I'm going to join the struggle. Reverend James Baxter and I are lone wolves in the community. We're the only one that's teaming up. Wouldn't it be good that, and I've been in my community for many years. Most of the people in the faith-based community, they know me. They see me, they're shaking hands and they're waving, but they're not joining me. My so-called friends who have known me down through the years, who said things, man, you all right. I like you. Man, you straight up. Man, you this, you that. Ladies and gentlemen, don't get fooled by all that lip service. You need action. You need friends that will stand with you. And ladies and gentlemen, that's not occurring in my hometown. So ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to be stopped and will not be stopped by negative people. I have to remember the word. The word is what my parents taught me. No weapons formed against you shall prosper. But everybody need a little encouragement. For a little encouragement go a long way. Ladies and gentlemen, I wonder sometimes, why can't I get a little encouragement? I know why. Envy and jealousy. I know I got some haters out there. But if you happen to see my haters and the people who stand on the banks as I swim upstream and see who's failing our children, and I see you on the bank, and you're not yelling words of encouragement. You're not jumping in the water to help me to save the children. But one thing about it, ladies and gentlemen, whether you do, whether you don't, God Almighty on my side. Great is he that is within me than in the whole world. So I shall continue the journey to improve public education with or without you, because I know who holds my future, and I know who holds the future of public education. And I see the sun peeping through the clouds. The war on public education is about over. Well, you know, ladies and gentlemen, school is out all across this country. Our children are at home with nothing to do. There's a few programs in various cities across this country, but there's not nearly enough to keep our children occupied. I trust that some of you will make sure that your children end up reading some books over the course of the summer, going to the local library, going to different places to see different sites, traveling with their parents like the well-to-do children, and seeing the world and comparing what's going on in the world to what they learn in school this school year. But yet, some of them will turn their children loose on the streets to stay out late at night, getting into drugs, violence, and fighting, and stealing, and robbing, continue to fill our jail facilities. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a sad day that our churches have large gyms, large facilities. Every church in our community know the struggle of our children, and they ought to be open during the course of the summer. Every one of the churches ought to be doing something. I wonder why that Sunday after Sunday that you sit back and allow your spiritual leader to have no agenda, no program for your children. But yet you say, I love brother so-and-so. I really like him on Sunday morning. But ladies and gentlemen, what about Monday through Saturday? What is he doing then? I want to commend two pastors in my local area, the Reverend Price, Greater Vision in my hometown, that every second Friday he invite children, whether they're members of his church or not, to come in and they dialogue with them. We need to listen to the children. We need to tell them about Jesus. We need to explain to them the importance of education, what they need to do. We need to get the parents involved. There ought to be programs during the course of the summer while we're teaching parents how to be better parents, how to help their children study, how to help their children read, how to be a part of the system, how to go in and do volunteer work. It's a lot of work to be done. And then we all want to talk about those bad children. They're not bad children. They're children with negative behavior and bad behavior. But guess what? Where they learned it from? They learned it from looking at our politicians. They learned it from looking at our organization and sororities and fraternities and NAACPs across this country. And they learned it from the faith-based community. Mom, I don't see them doing anything. I guess they don't really give them. You fill in the blank. It's a very sad day. But I also want to commend my spiritual leader, the Reverend Blaylock, Dennis E. Blaylock. As of this past Monday, they're going throughout the community, running our vans, picking up children. They got programs. I wanted to make sure that if I'm going to attend a church, I want to attend a church where not only do I get fed, but the other people and the children get fed. So my church is doing that, and I'm very glad to hear that. And I encourage other churches to get busy and to do something in the community. Don't talk about our children. Do something to help them. One thing that I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, about Reverend Baxter and Professor Merriweather, we're not worried because we know who holds the future. We know our God is bigger than the problems of public education. But worry is like a rocking chair. You can sit there and rock all you want to, but you're not going nowhere. You're not moving. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for you to quit rocking in the rocking chair of life and get up and do something to help our children. It is time to quit rocking so much and join Professor Merriweather and join Reverend Baxter, and let's work to improve public education. Ladies and gentlemen, for the last half of this class session, I want to just talk to your conscience. I want to just speak to you about some encouragement. So stay tuned. I'll be right back, and we will wrap this class up and get you headed toward Memorial Day holiday celebration. Stay with me. Ladies and gentlemen, the clock on the wall says that it's time to go, to close this class out. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to do something a little bit different as we close this class out. I want to leave you with some words of encouragement, some food for thought that you will think about as we approach this Memorial Day holiday and the closing of school. But it reminds me of Miss Johnson class. Miss Johnson had words of encouragement lesson planned for this particular class. When she arrived that Friday in class, the students was rambunctious and a little loud, and she couldn't hardly get them to settle down. So she decided, well, I think I'll do something different. I think I'll do another lesson plan. So she said to the students, settle down, boys and girls, settle down. Take out a clean sheet of paper and your number 2 pencil. And she said, I want you to look at the person on your left-hand side and write down 2 things about that individual. The students settled down and they began to look around and wonder what students would say about them. She said, get busy. That's your assignment. So the students got their paper and their pencil out, and they began to look at their neighbor, and they began to write. At the end of class, Miss Johnson took up the papers, and she went home for the weekend. Miss Johnson folded the paper up, and when she got home, she opened the paper and she began to read what each of the students said about each other. There were smiles on her face as she read through what students were saying about the student that was to their left side. Ladies and gentlemen, on Monday morning, she arrived back in class, and she said to them, I'm going to pass out your papers. And she would look, John, Sally, Mary, and she would pass their papers out. The children was excited to see what other students felt about them. Many of them looked on there and they were surprised that their classmate thought that they were smart. Their classmate thought that they was pretty. Their classmate thought that they was tall. Their classmate thought that they was very encouraging to other students. There was a whole lot of positive things that was said about students. Years passed, and one of the students went off to war in Vietnam. And he was killed during that time. The body was sent back to his hometown, and Mrs. Johnson and several of her students attended the funeral. At the end of the funeral, the father came up to Miss Johnson, and he said to Miss Johnson, I want just to tell you that I appreciate you. And she looked, not sure what he was saying, and he reached in his pocket. He says, Miss Johnson, and several of the students were standing by Miss Johnson. And he said to Miss Johnson as he pulled this piece of paper out of his pocket, Miss Johnson, my son was killed over there in Vietnam, but I want you to know that I'm grateful and thankful to you, because this is what I found in my son's wallet. Over the course of years, he carried this in his wallet every day. He died with this in his wallet. This is what one of the students said about my son. And my son was encouraged day after day, month after month, year after year, up until the time he died, because of what was said in your class. And I just wanted to thank you. Several Miss Johnson students overheard the conversation, and they reached in their wallet. I still got mine. And the young lady said, oh, mine is in my album, my wedding album. The other young lady said, oh, mine is in my hope chest. The other student says, I carry mine in my wallet daily, just like John did. So, ladies and gentlemen, words of encouragement has an impact on us. My question is, are we encouraging our young people? Are we encouraging our young people to be about all they can be, to do what they can? Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to encourage someone. You made it because someone took the time to encourage you to keep the fight on. You can make it. You can do it. You can find the Lord Jesus Christ. You need to pray. Words of encouragement go a long way, just like they did in Miss Johnson class. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk now just real briefly about the seeds of greatness. We need to be planting seeds of greatness in the lives of people, and it's certainly in the lives of young people. I'm told that 75% of inmates were told by their parents that they was going to end up in prison, and they did. What if 75% of the parents and relatives told little Pee-wee, little Bubba, little Tay-Tay that they was going to be great, that the world would get to know them? I wonder what would happen to that 75% that ended up in prison. I'm reminded that a man one day told a little boy, "You a winner. You are a winner." The little boy ran home and told his mama, Mama, this man said that I'm a winner." And ladies and gentlemen, seeds of greatness was placed in this little man's mind and heart. And ladies and gentlemen, you know the rest of the story. This little man went on to become our first black president of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to start planting some seeds of greatness in the minds of young people. Not only in the minds of young people, can you imagine that if we plant seeds of greatness in the teachers, in superintendents, in boards of education, in our religious community, our organization, can you imagine the turnaround that we would have in our communities? Ladies and gentlemen, make a commitment that you're going to plant some seeds of greatness. Students, I need you to take out your paper and pencil and take a little notes. You know, we sing that old Negro hymn for spirits. Let me try it again. That old Negro spiritual. We shall overcome. Sometime we have to overcome us before we can overcome them. Now that's a little heavy, so you're going to have to let that soak in. We sing that we shall overcome. We have to overcome us before we can overcome them. Get out of your way. Get out of your own way. You're in your own way. Give some thought to that, students. Nothing wrong with it. I don't sing that song anymore. I grew up singing that, holding hands at civil rights activities and event, singing, we shall overcome one day. We're never going to overcome one day if we can not deal with what's happening today. Think about it. How can you overcome one day when you are not doing anything about this day? Think about it. I'm going to continue to the end of this broadcast. Give you a little food for thought, and I hope you'll think about it over the course of the holiday. I want to give you the ABCs of life. Students, take notes. A, accept the challenge that lies ahead of all of us. B, believe in yourself. I never would have made it if I didn't believe in myself. If I waited on my haters and my so-called friends and them fake leaders who were saying, you gonna go up and be somebody, you gonna do that. And yet, they never did sow seeds of greatness in me except to give me words and never tried to encourage me by saying, I'm watching you, I'm keeping up with you. If it had not been for my relatives, my parents, my church, my Sunday school class, and people who said, I remember Miss Mahattan, my white civics teacher in Jackson High School in 1969 when I graduated, who encouraged me, who protected me just like a mother protecting her little chickens. If it had not been for people who God put in my life during the 4 years that I was at that integrated schools, I don't know, it would have been very difficult for me to make it. But God made sure that I made it. Now I'm willing to give back to my community, give back to the children of the community. And now it's very difficult for me to find people that will join me on this journey. But whether you join me or not, I'm going to continue the struggle. C, convert your hopes into dreams. Again, A, accept the challenges. B, believe in yourself. C, convert your hopes into dreams. We can save public education, ladies and gentlemen, if we just follow the ABCs of life. The next thing that I want to leave you, and we're going to get out of here, I want you to remember Ephesians 6:23 through 24. And it reads, if I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I sail on the sea side of the, got it wrong. Let me read it again. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I sail on the side of the sea, even there your hands will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. How we forget who is able to hold us in his hand. Ladies and gentlemen, God is carrying our children. We must believe in our children. Two more things and we out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, never look back because you can never look forward. It's time for us to look forward because better things are yet to come. I'd like to conclude with two more things and then I'm going to allow the class to dismiss and head home for the holidays. Don't let anyone give up on your dream. Talk out your dreams. Think about your dreams. That's why we're failing and our young children are ending up in institution, ending up on drugs and violence, committing suicide because we not encourage them to dream. Not only to dream, but to dream big. Because the Bible tells me through Christ Jesus, I can do anything. All things are possible if we only believe. But what we got to do as we close this class out, when you stop chasing the wrong leaders, you give the right leaders a chance to catch up with you. Again, when you stop chasing the wrong leaders, and that's what we have been doing over the course of the year, that's how we got in the shape that we're in. We have new leadership in my hometown. Dr. Eric Jones, in my community, have our first black superintendent. And it's a sad day. And the same thing's happening in your community that I say each week. Our community has not gotten behind this leader. Oh, we had a few religious leaders who have met and put some things on his plate. But that was last Saturday. This Saturday, they should be meeting and talking about an action plan. Or anyone can sit and converse with the superintendent, give their opinion. But action takes effort, and effort takes work, and work brings about success. So we need to stop chasing the wrong leaders and give the right leaders a chance to catch up with us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me this week. I am your host, Professor Merriweather, in the class of 503. And ladies and gentlemen, I am the author of Enough is Enough. Public education has spiraled out of control. Thank you for allowing me to hold class this holiday weekend, and I trust that you and your family will be blessed. And just remember, God holds our future. Take care until we meet again in class of 503. And look, call a friend and text a friend. Tell them it's time to get involved. Professor Merriweather, along with Reverend James Baxter, is trying to make a difference in the community. And I wonder what your leadership is doing in your hometown. If they're not doing anything to move public education forward, then you need to get busy as well. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Memorial Holidays to you. Have a blessed weekend. Take care.